Join me as I dive into the world of Jane Eyre and take on the challenge of uncovering what makes her a true feminist rebel in the Victorian era. Jane Eyre, the pioneering protagonist of Charlotte Bronte's iconic novel, is a shining example of a strong, independent woman who defied the societal norms of her time. Published in 1847, the novel was a bold statement against the patriarchal values that dominated the Victorian era, and Jane's character was the embodiment of that resistance. In the Victorian era, women were expected to be submissive, obedient, and demure. They were relegated to the domestic sphere, with limited access to education, employment, and economic independence. They were seen as mere appendages to their husbands, with no agency or autonomy of their own. The ideal Victorian woman was one who was passive, nurturing, and selfless, always putting the needs of others before her own. But women like Jane Eyre refused to conform to these expectations. They longed for more, for a life of purpose and meaning beyond the confines of their narrow roles. They yearned for autonomy, for the freedom to make their own choices, to pursue their own goals, and to forge their own paths. The societal expectations of women during the Victorian era were suffocating, to say the least. Women were discouraged from pursuing higher education, and those who did were often seen as anomalies, unworthy of respect or consideration. They were barred from certain professions, and those who dared to venture into male-dominated fields were met with hostility and disdain. But Jane Eyre was different. She was a woman of strong convictions, unwavering principles, and unshakable determination. She was a woman who refused to be bound by the limitations imposed upon her, who defied the conventions of her time, and who carved out her own path, no matter how difficult or uncharted it may have been. Throughout the novel, we see Jane asserting her autonomy, challenging the authority of those around her, and refusing to be intimidated or coerced into submission. We see her standing up to the cruel and tyrannical Mr. Brocklehurst, demanding fair treatment for herself and her fellow students at Lowood School. We see her refusing to be swayed by the charms of the wealthy and charming Mr. Rochester, choosing instead to follow her own heart and her own conscience. One of the most pivotal moments in the novel comes when Jane discovers the truth about Mr. Rochester's secret wife, Bertha Mason. It's a moment of profound revelation, one that forces Jane to confront the harsh realities of her situation and to make a choice that will define her character for the rest of the novel. Will she stay with the man she loves, compromising her values and her integrity in the process? Or will she leave him, choosing instead to forge a path of her own, no matter how difficult or uncertain it may be? In the end, Jane chooses to leave, and it's a decision that speaks volumes about her character and her values. It's a decision that says, I will not compromise my autonomy, my independence, or my self-respect, no matter how much I love you. It's a decision that says, I am more than just a romantic partner, I am a person with my own agency, my own desires, and my own dreams. Jane Eyre's actions and beliefs position her as a true feminist rebel, inspiring future generations of women to stand up for themselves, to assert their autonomy, and to refuse to be bound by the limitations imposed upon them. So what do you think about Jane Eyre's impact on feminist literature? How do you think her story continues to inspire and empower women today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other videos on feminist literature. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell.